They said the rain would be heavy, but I've seen heavy before, you know what I mean? I'm not the kind of guy who flinches at a little water. Years in the Coast Guard'll do that to you. I've chased down hurricanes in the Gulf, climbed onto rooftops with a rope slung over my shoulder, dragged folks out from places nobody with sense would walk into. So when the news started with their prepare for flash flooding routine, I just sipped my coffee, watched the sky get weird over Willow Crest. Figured I'd seen worse. Yeah. Turns out sometimes what you think you've seen is just the warm-up act. But something in me was twitchy that night. This neighborhood was built in a basin, two creeks like crooked arms on either side, and that old busted-up reservoir behind us. One the city forgot about, one I'd been hollering at the HOA about for years. Every time I brought up the dam at meetings, Karen would do that little smirk. You know, the one chin lifted, lips pressed tight like she'd just smelled sour milk. Thank you for your input, Mr. Reed. We have engineers who handle that. President of the HOA board and queen of the hill, literally. She didn't care that half the neighborhood flooded if a storm cloud just sneezed our way. Why would she? She lived on the highest ground in Willow Crest where the rain runs off her driveway and drowns the rest of us. Good. The rain started slow, but by 3 a.m. it was coming down in sheets like a solid wall you could lean into. I heard the roar before I even saw the water. Honest to God, sounded like a train coming through the dark. Opened my door and saw my street gone, just a churning river swallowing up the curb, crawling toward my porch. I still had my old aluminum rescue boat in the garage, a habit from days I thought I'd left behind. That night it felt like destiny. Didn't even hesitate, just waded out, boots filling up quick, hitched the boat and eased her into the current. Over on the other side, my neighbor was screaming. His wife's in a wheelchair, water already lapping their steps. I didn't wait for permission. Pushed off my breath, catching adrenaline taking over. Floods in suburbia are nothing like you'd expect. Mailboxes turn to obstacles. Fences disappear under brown water. Every little thing's a hazard. First run, I pulled out a family of 4 little boys sobbing, hugging a stuffed rabbit so tight his knuckles were white. Next trip, an elderly couple with no power, no idea their basement was a swimming pool. Then a single mom with her baby wrapped in a plastic bag for warmth. Karen stood on her porch, threw it all dry as toast, phone out, filming every move. Not a wave, not a question, just cold judgment, like she was cataloging every ripple for future reference. Maybe she was. By dawn, I'd done 6 runs. Soaked, exhausted, shaking from cold and nerves, but everyone I worried about was safe. The city crews finally rolled in, their sirens echoing over the water, but the worst had already passed, and the damage wasn't just ruined basements. It was trust. Folks were angry. The HOA hadn't done squat. No sandbags, no phone trees, not a single warning. Later, a city inspector told me the dam nearly breached would have if a jammed spillway hadn't let loose by accident. Pure luck. Neighbors thanked me. Hell, one teenager I'd never met hugged me like I'd pulled him out myself. All I'd done was what I was trained to do. I thought that'd be the end of it. But 2 days later, a manila envelope slid under my door. No stamp, no return address, just a violation notice from the HOA. Unauthorized use of motorized vehicles on common roads and water pathways. Disturbance of community water flow. Fine $3,200. I just stared at it, stood in my kitchen, coffee dripping on the counter, trying to wrap my head around the idea that saving lives could get you punished. But that was Karen for you. That letter was the first real wave in a storm they couldn't control. That whole next night, I sat on my bed replaying every face I'd hauled out: baby in a trash bag, old woman clinging to her husband's arm, a boy with asthma. Was I really supposed to regret it? But I'd seen men argue over medals while others drowned. Bureaucracy's the same wherever you go. Control, image, ego. Karen had all 3. By 4 a.m, I had a plan. Suited up again, went back out. The boat was still tied off, bobbing in a puddle that used to be my lawn. Out in the East End, I found the Colemans. He's an amputee. She's got arthritis. They were alive, huddled upstairs with a flashlight and a bottle of whiskey. No way to call for help. Took all my nerve to get them into the boat, but pride don't mean much when water's climbing the stairs. On my 3rd run that morning, Karen was at her window, lights on, filming again. Didn't wave, didn't ask. A few houses later, I rescued a whole family who tried to float their kids out in plastic bins. The water surged, almost flipped us. Through it all, Karen just watched. By sunrise, I'd pulled out 17 people. Not one word from the HOA, not a call, not an email. But two guys in HOA ponchos came down my street stapling laminated violation notices to mailboxes. During the flood, I yelled, "Did you see me pull 5 families out?" All I got was, "We're just following board orders, sir." I swallowed my temper. That's what uniforms teach you control. But this was different now. This wasn't just clueless, it was mean. All morning I checked on everyone I'd rescued. Did anyone from the HOA help? Not a single yes. But everyone remembered Karen recording from her porch. That night I started writing a real report, not just a rant. Included photos, GPS witness names, city ordinances that override HOA authority during emergencies. Sent it to my niece at the county emergency office. She owed me a favor. She replied within hours. The county was opening an investigation. The HOA had no legal standing to interfere during a declared emergency. They wanted a meeting. I agreed. But before I went, I gathered my neighbors, the ones I'd rescued, the ones Karen had fined. My living room filled up Mr. Coleman, with his stump on a pillow, Mrs. Salgado with her baby asleep. Even the kids playing with my dog. We compared stories. Noise fines for crying babies, threats for open garages, Karen accusing people of creating unauthorized shelters. That word unauthorized, she used it like a shield. I played them my dash cam video, kids crying in the boat, Karen in the background saying, "He shouldn't be doing that, it's not authorized." The next morning flyers went up. "Were you affected by HOA negligence during the flood meeting tonight? 7 p.m. Community Center." I taped one to Karen's picket fence. Let her film me, I wasn't alone anymore. At the meeting I brought evidence. Dash cam, fine letters, photos. When I stood up and asked, "Raise your hand if the HOA threatened you in the last 6 months," more than half the room did. Stories poured out one after another. We started a petition, demanded Karen's removal and a full audit. Posted it online. News picked it up. Flood hero fined by HOA, community fights back. My old friend Dana, an attorney, agreed to help. She'd lost her brother in a rescue gone wrong. I'd been on the chopper that brought him home. She looked over the violations, the threats, and said, "This isn't just wrong, Travis, it's illegal. Retaliation, obstruction, let's take it to court." For the first time since the flood, I felt like maybe, just maybe, we had a shot. The county council met with us, and I testified alongside my neighbors. We told them everything, how Karen fined people for rescue efforts, tried to silence us, threatened liens. The county issued an order. HOA fines suspended all board activity under review. Karen doubled down mass emails accusing us of lying, claiming the flood was exaggerated. But then she made a mistake, called a special HOA meeting, not realizing residents could vote her out by majority. We did. She lost blinking like the water had finally reached her. No rescue boat coming for her this time. It should have ended there, but the machine Karen built still churned. They tried gag orders, froze our HOA portals, sent cease and desist letters to residents who spoke to the press. So we met at the local church, passed a resolution, no more silence, no more fear. I posted the HOA's threats online. If saving my neighbors is destabilizing, maybe the HOA needs to fall. The post went viral. Journalists, news vans, county officials all descended. The audit uncovered everything: $43,000 in unauthorized spending, fake violations, retaliation. We voted to dissolve the board. County took over until new elections. That night people hugged, played music, and cried. Karen's house sat empty, a for sale sign sinking into her perfect lawn. The weeks after the real healing started, rules rewritten, fines refunded, budget made public. We formed a volunteer flood team, cleaned the storm drains, fixed the park. Kids rode bikes, families gathered for potlucks, laughter replaced whispers. I kept the boat, patched the hull, named her Ripples. Because sometimes the smallest act, the thing they punish you for, is what sets everyone else free. The first time I really saw it was just a Saturday. Coffee in hand, sun coming up, kids looping on bikes. Coleman's ramp repaired, sunflowers blooming where the flood once surged. Across the street, Karen's old house stood empty. Nobody mentioned her. We had better things to do. Brian set a granite stone in the park. The neighbor's honor stone, it said. No names. We all knew who it was for. At the unveiling, the mayor joked about me running for HOA president. I just laughed. We don't need rulers here, just neighbors who remember how to care. A letter came from Marisol Salgado's little girl. "Thank you for saving my mommy. I'm not scared anymore." Still taped to my fridge. And one evening, Mr. Coleman handed me his brother's folded flag, said I'd earned it. That night I raised it on a new pole, no speeches, just the sound of cloth snapping in the breeze, kids watching wide-eyed. Maybe everything we went through had a reason. Monthly dinners at the center, now no forms, no permission, just food and laughter. Rumor was Karen moved 3 counties over, started another HOA, let her make her ripples somewhere else. We've got our own pond to take care of. The old basin's now a walking trail and wetland garden. My dog Scout loves it, Frog's mud sun. And me, I sleep easy now, not just because the fines stopped, but because we built something better in the aftermath. We remembered how to help, how to listen, how to stand up. That's what HOA was supposed to mean, neighbors, not overlords. People living side by side, ready to rise together when the water comes. You never really know what you're made of till the current tests you. And sometimes you just launch your boat and trust the ripples to do the rest. So let me ask, what would you have done? Would you have followed the rules or broken them to save a neighbor? Drop a comment below. Let's hear your flood stories, your neighbor stories. Hit like if you believe community is more than a rule book, and share this if you've ever fought back against the Karens of the world. Who knows? Maybe your story's the ripple that starts something bigger.